quadball, but never on a pitch that is this big. It is honestly hard to even show you in the camera just how spacious this turf is. But yeah, the crowd's been awesome, just reverberating through this field house over and over and over again. And it's largely been to hype up Chicago through their run all day.
Who can blame them, though? It's been the Cinderella team thus far. In nobody would call it an overachievement. No. They're reaching their potential, and they are executing at the highest level we've ever seen them do.
Ing and Monroe this time gets to the ball at the same time.
Johnson, though, comes up with the ball for Austin. A shot.
Oh, Danny Yakub with the save.
I mean, this is Yakub. It's a save on the beater end. It is not an interference between positions because there's a release of the ball for anybody who would ask any questions. Just an incredible play and something we see so little of. Williams, though, knocks out Yakub. The pass across the middle, absolutely a pass with the cutting chaser, almost became a shot if that fell through. Pass to Johnson on the outside, getting it out. A score there for Austin to give them the first lead of the match.
Josh Johnson has hit so many of those shots in transition that he doesn't even celebrate them. He just smirks a little bit and walks back to his side of the field. But yeah, I mean, so is Augustine Monroe, and Yakub was able to stop the first one. As always, against this Austin team, the first question is, how do you break down the beating game? Jackson Johnson and Daniel Williams have been otherworldly all weekend long, for basically half a decade long at this point, and once again, the press is successful.
Yeah, can't credit Melkite enough for the pressure onto Vasquez. Gets the ball out to Ing, but Johnson cleans Ing up. Monroe does get through, passes to Johnson on the inside after being denied at the hoops, but Johnson is not.
Yeah, just too easy as this press goes. Yakub is going to be assigned dodgeball control, so a big shift there from Chicago. But this first line was not able to put away Chicago in game one, hoping to not allow it again in game two. Riley Andrews
cuts back by the defense. They sink onto the hoops, and it gives Andrews a chance to shoot on the top hoop.
Yeah, so again, Chicago with the counterpunch. As much as, maybe Byron Ing and Nathan Digman were the stars for this team in the first series, Emma Vasquez and Riley Andrews, both on the field now, have been the stars so far in this one.
20-10 for Austin. The exchanging of the beats. Williams gets beat as well. Here's the press opportunity. Firing at Johnson with a reload, but that's not with help. Johnson driving by Andrews, scoring behind Manzella. A mistimed beat there from Yakub, thinking he had help, and I don't think that he understood that the beater partner was out of the play.
Yeah, kind of used the ball that needed to be the press ball as the get rid of the third dodgeball ball, and it just became too easy. Josh Johnson has a hat trick probably about a minute and a half into this game.
And it's happened quite a few times this tournament. Johnson scoring quick and then transitioning to a more supportive role as the defense adjusts. I think Chicago's going to have to do the same, but Andrews with another shot, catching Johnson sleeping.
Just a complete star turn for Riley Andrews in this tournament. Has been one of the best players on one of the best teams, is scoring at will, and right now is keeping Chicago in this game.
Andrews even accidentally deflecting that dodgeball back to his hoops with Johnson trying to reset it towards theirs.
Yeah, Matt Brown actually misidentified the play there, and I think might end up losing dodgeball control and creating no dodgeball situation.
Monroe getting past the defense of Andrews and through the contact. Another situation where the contact ends up high, but the shot's still good.
Yeah, so what happened there is that Daniel Williams and Caleb Williams were in a scrap on the ground near the Chicago hoops. Jackson Johnson had to go all the way back to hoops. The third dodgeball was over maybe 5 feet away from them. Neither one could let go because they'd get beat. Matt Brown tried to play a press by himself rather than just absolving the situation. By the time he went over to absolve it, it just created a no dodgeball situation. Back-to-back just mistake plays from a beater game that's been so good so far today.
Yeah, I'm happy you saw that because I sure didn't. A perfect recap of the play. And Austin came away with that goal. The quad ball is going to be reset. I was going to say Lecomte maybe coming up on offense after starting with it after the stoppage, but it's because the ball does have to get reset to Andrews. Oh, but beat! Swatting away one of the dodgeballs. Irwin's going to have free hoops. Cutting misdirecting Andrews to the right side and instead opting for the tall hoop. 50-20, a 3-goal lead.
Yeah, Riley Andrews blocked the first, didn't block the second. And I'm really wondering if 5 games into this day, the mental errors just seem to be piling up for Chicago Prowl, team that made almost none of them for 4 entire games against the best players in the world.
It's a great call there, honestly, Ethan. You can't say enough about how on you have to be for what just continues to be more and more minutes. Melton gets the ball on the backside, but it's pressure from Williams that's going to turn the ball over. Johnson going the other way, and there's no defenders outside of Digman. A cut, and Digman has no chance to keep up.
Josh Johnson, 4 on the day already, and it might be that the end is coming early here for Chicago in game 2.
Chicago has to stop the bleeding here, get some points on the board, and get a stop afterwards. Get some momentum back on this side. They do have dodgeball control, but Gaines and Brown on offense have to work with Digman to get a goal here.
Yeah, Richard out injured now. Gaines is slowly upping the minutes, not a heavily used player. Oh!
Long pass to Zasajinsky. Shot no good.
Such a good finish on that side and a really nice find, but the dodgeballs are just flying fast. Daniel Williams has had a phenomenal shift here to open this game.
I wonder if that ball went through, but it was just called beat before. It seemed like Zasajinsky had the goal opportunity, and I think it was just the defense from Austin coming up and making a big play. Sanchez with the ball, pressed by Gaines. Gaines switching to the backside. Now Garza throwing it over. Our angle, we couldn't tell laterally where that was, but it does go down into the hands of the Prowl. The pass to the other side to Melton. Melton cleans it up despite the deflection, and Melton gets on the board for the first time today.
Yeah, much needed there out of Chicago. Digman gets in transition. Digman's had a quiet final so far, and Melton just the control there. Daniel Williams gets sent off back to hoops. We talked about how Chicago did an ideal job of controlling the first line in game 1, but then wasn't able to catch up against the second line. This time they didn't do a great job against the first line. They're going to need to have a much better shift this time around.
I said that Chicago needed a goal and then to get a stop to swing this momentum back and at least give them something, some sort of traction here in this game. Still here in regulation. First half done, second half on the way. Dodgeball control in the hands of the Prowl. Austin waiting for full force. Tracy and Beavers. The beaters here, they're focusing on Gaines, and Gaines gets pickpocketed by Tracy. Cleared out by Beavers. Sanchez has a lane. Through Brown, the pass to Irwin.
Oh.
The athleticism of Irwin to get that ball through the hoop on Austin. A pivotal piece showing up big on offense now.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised she was able to get a hand on it, but I thought it would be more for a catch. To be able to just make a redirection off that is incredible, and Austin has very, very early on forced Chicago into using its timeout.
It's a breakneck pace for Austin offensively. It was Johnson getting 3 goals right off the bat early, and since then it's by committee here for the Outlaws. Every single line with a unique look. In Chicago, it seems like it takes a moment after the substitutions to figure out how to play these lines.
Yeah, and for a team that, like we said, always felt a little bit destined for this moment, has really had to scrap over the course of 2 days almost. I mean, you could even say Boston game 2 was a scrappy affair.
Absolutely.
You can 100% say that Washington game 2 was a scrappy affair. And it's been a team that I think has had to find its identity over the course of this tournament. A lot of player absences during the regular season. Didn't even seem like they really knew what their lines were, even what position people were going to be playing. Sometimes you need a long tournament just to start making those things click, and maybe Austin's just finally really, really clicking at the exact right time.
Yeah, it is a scary prospect to think that Austin still had room to grow here in the tournament after some of those games against Boston, against Washington. But, yeah, the Prowl meeting them in some of these aspects, but finding themselves down 4 goals here. If they can start to chip away at this lead, keep the pace at their tempo, and get to the flag runner on pitch game, with a catch, they can claw themselves back into this. Digman making the cut, going left to right towards the beater, finds Manzella, but beat before.
Yeah, all the things that have been clicking for Chicago all weekend long just seem to be a split second slow. And as you said, the pace that Austin's playing at is just hyperactive.
It is Chicago playing at an extremely high level, the best ball they've played all season. Austin just, the margin so small. Tracy getting the beat, the ball goes to the backside. Garza with the drive, the pump fake, the shot over the defending J-Rum, and Austin takes a 5-goal lead here.
And Digman's going to have to take another sub out for, it's going to be Ing this time.
8 minutes have elapsed here in the game. Austin scoring a goal per minute thus far. Collins with that aforementioned laser of a shot early. It's J-Rum getting pressure by Sanchez, giving the back and offering Sanchez an opportunity to push out of bounds. It forces Collins into a tough position, and Austin comes away with the turnover.
Yeah, Axel jumped that pass because it had briefly become a no dodgeball situation with Tracy missing that beat. But now it is dodgeball control back to Austin. Dangerous prospect.
Slow-moving Austin. They've got the time for it, though. Tracy and Beavers, the dodgeball controlling players. Ball gets swung out to Sanchez on the outside. Now, Bottoms with the ball, holding on though. Favorable trade for Chicago, but it leaves the backside open. Sanchez muscling that through the hoop.
Yeah, it just feels like everything's kind of come undone for Chicago. You're seeing that players that have been such a big part of this team over the course of the day are starting to having to limit minutes a little bit. We've talked about Digman, Richard not playing in this one, taken off the roster due to injury concerns sustained in the last game. But even all the way down, I mean, Matt Brown's not playing huge minutes. They're playing through their beater depth.
Caleb Williams here in. Michael Morowick as well for Chicago. Williams going to go back to hoops. Morowick joining as well, perhaps looking for a substitution, and yes, that is the case. Quad ball being advanced slowly. Ing rifling that throw. Are you kidding me? From mid-pitch, Ing calling the three-point shot. Steph Curry somewhere applauding.
So Ing was so excited that they knocked over their own middle hoop and then started trying to pick it up themselves to try to avoid the penalty. I think you could definitely argue this is a no harm, no foul situation. We'll see what the referees decide to say.
I hope so. It really was just some excitement. Oh no, they are gonna call the blue card.
And that's a tough one to take because that was one of the coolest moments we've had in this game. A young player just celebrating, and not in a problematic way or a taunting type way.
Yeah, purely positive, very excited and happy.
And then I think that Austin is going to get a foul called for making ref calls, trying to get that foul called on Byron Ing. So, maybe kind of justice was served in some ways.
Bit of an equalizer. I don't know, two lefts don't make a right, but the result may remain the same. All things considered, though, it has been such a fun, I don't want to call it a contest, it is just a dance here. Give and take on both sides.
So actually, that play has officially favored Ing because I think it just got dodgeball control back for Chicago because a beater who had a dodgeball in their hand was the one complaining.
I thought LeCompte was throwing it to the sideline to maybe replace the ball. Maybe there was a flat.
Ing with the 4D play.
Unbelievable. Yeah, you're right. Just so much foresight from Ing there. No. Sanchez, though, getting the offensive possession going for the Outlaws. Passing to the outside, Bottoms is going to get it back to Sanchez after Garza gets beat. Tracy passive with the ball. Bottom's getting blocked, though. Collins stuffing the offensive possession, getting it back for Chicago. Substitutions coming through for the entire line.
Momentum ever so slightly changing here. The half-court shot followed by the freely given dodgeball turnover.
Whatever it takes here for Chicago. Dodgeball control, Yakub aggressing towards the backside. Collins receives it back to the front to Andrews.
Just to clarify, that's actually Grant Himmelman, I think, making some of their first minutes of the day behind the hoops for Chicago.
Yeah, he called the full line sub, but I didn't follow my words. You're right.
Young player out of the Mizzou program, just 21, playing here in an MLQ championship final.
As big a minutes as you can create. Yakub, favorable trade. Great tackle there from Sanchez. Andrews gets it to Emma Vasquez, keeps the possession, followed by Bottoms. Vasquez has a lane, pass to the backside! The oop! The Prowl come roaring back in this game.
That's why you bring the fresh legs in. Usually a Tiger right there, but this right now is part of the Prowl.
Himmelman, no bigger minutes, as you mentioned before, rising to the occasion and to the pass. Highlight plays here in Des Moines. Austin and Chicago delivering at every turn. Esparza with Axtell. Axtell getting pressured. The dodgeball game is crazy. One on the defensive end. Esparza's got to wait. Williams recollects the dodgeball, creates some space, but Esparza steps out.
And suddenly, after 10 minutes of Chicago making the mental mistakes, now the mental mistakes are starting to add up for Austin.
It was a favorable possession as well. They got dodgeball control back, and the defense was at fits, honestly. They were a bit out of position, sinking back towards the hoops. There was an opportunity. Insane game here. Zazajinsky with the ball, kicking it back out to Andrews. Vasquez on the left.
Andrews definitely is considering a shot, but against the hoop zone, not really an option.
Himmelman looking for the oop again, but having to step back into the play. Vasquez with the ball, stutter step, Axel with the pressure, looking to knock Vasquez out of bounds, but cannot do so in time. Andrews gets a pass off to Zazajinsky, back to Himmelman, blocks the beat. No good though, saved by Brown, and he's got more work to do. Does so, and Vasquez keeps possession. This team is working.
Yeah, and it's truly incredible that Chicago is able to get back into this game. These long possessions, the things they were doing against New York, working against arguably the best team in the world.
Gaines and Brown with dodgeball control, extending this possession for Chicago. Andrews receives it up top. Williams pressuring. That pump fake once again paying dividends, and Gaines is the only one with the dodgeball now. The pressure starting to rise. Himmelman unable to reel in the pass. Dodgeball control doing so much work for Austin on the defensive end. Parada checking into the game for the first time. Axtell on the outside. Cutting left to right. Pump fake. Shot. And good.
Andrew Axtell has had that shot in his back pocket for a decade at this point. Coming across the zone, looking top hoop, making it look easy just to stem a little bit of the bleeding. Austin obviously comfortably up 5 here, but momentum had definitely started to shift Chicago's way.
5-goal deficit as Digman comes in. New line once again. Zock. First action of the game for them as well. Digman, Zock, Benzella, and Ing. Zock with an opening. Pass to the backside, looking for Ing, but deflected by Parada.
And good job by Esparza getting to that, and now might be out looking to run.
Stoppage of play, nothing immediately apparent.
Yeah, and I think Zock is one of those players I didn't even list when I was talking about some of the players who are starting to, looks like maybe more limited minutes at this point for Chicago. Obviously, he's been a spark plug for the team.
Yeah. And yes, the score differential, it's a 5-goal differential, but I wouldn't have even noticed the difference if you take the numbers off. Not discrediting some of those big impact players of previous games, but more crediting the depth of this Chicago team.
Daniel Williams going to get called for playing through a beat there. Big change in that it's going to, I believe,
no turnover.
Not result in a quad ball turnover,
yeah.
but resulting in a dodgeball turnover.
Zoc asking about it, getting clarified.
Hey, you can always ask. The worst you can get is a no as we pass the 15-minute mark of play.
Is this dating advice or no?
I wouldn't know a thing about dating. I've been married 10 years, Reef.
Okay, fair. All right. Long retired from quad ball. Turns out same thing from the club. Esparza on offense now. Getting into the defense. Parada catches it on the backside. Shot opportunity, but denied by Ing.
Ing has really been showing their range at the middle hoop all
Literally
day
their
long.
Range, yeah. Not in versatility, but literally the length of their arms.
No, it just has an exact twin to show the versatility of playing another position.
Okay, fair. And getting the better of the matchup there against New York.
In the semifinals. Byron and Jason will be back playing with Rutgers in the fall. Definitely going to be a college team to watch.
No time to watch now because Ing has an opportunity. Great pass, but denied by the defense of Tracy and Axtell.
Daniel Williams back out of the penalty box and looking like he's shot out of a cannon.
Axtell cutting, though. Oh, you love the look. Axtell knowing that he's got the comfortability to pull it back if Brown does turn, and that's exactly what happens. But if Brown looks away for a moment longer, Axtell's got a shot. Esparza with the shot as well. I said Axtell didn't need much. Esparza needs even less, perhaps.
Yeah, it's incredible how little this team has needed the contributions from Esparza, but now getting them down the stretch as they look to put this one away.
110-50 for the Outlaws. Big plays on both sides. The shots falling here for Austin and the latter part of regulation.
Yeah, the difference is that offensively things have gotten so hard for Chicago. They were getting some easy goals against Austin in game one, and the door's really been shut on that. You think about every single goal Chicago has scored has basically been a highlight reel.
Collins and Zoc back and forth. Jayram receives a pass. It's dangerous. Deflected still. Parada, 2 stuffs on the defensive end here in this shift. Axtell going the other way, gets around Zoc. 1 hoop going down, but you only need 1 to score. Pump fake, and does so. The medium hoop being pulverized as well as Austin goes up 120-50.
Yeah, really starting to put it away, and it's not going to get any easier as Josh Johnson, Augustine Monroe sub back in. First line in, Luis Sanchez as well. Looking to really drop the hammer here on Chicago.
And I'm not talking about the Forge. All right, one of the quarterfinal opponents for the Austin Outlaws. Triumphant over the Admirals shortly after that, looking to make it 3 for their 5th championship.
I would love to know how many minutes Emma Vasquez has played today.
I don't know that I could count. It has been crazy. The pass back to Vasquez. Great defense, though. Sanchez getting Vasquez to the ground, covering the ball, getting possession back. Great catch on that side, but just could not get the shot back off.
Yeah, for sure. A great initial pump fake. Got a lot of defenders in the air. The only player who didn't bite was Sanchez and was able to do just enough.
Hard to make Sanchez bite whenever he was on the other side of the hoop, so it makes sense, but
I think the Sanchez is going to get called for the foul. So now there's a chance. Yeah, I think Emma Vasquez is going to be able to just turn around and score. Just as we were calling her name for the minute she's played, might just create an individual goal.
I don't know.
I think they might say that she was off broom, not related to the foul.
That'd
be a real loss there for Chicago, because if she had been on broom, oh no, it's not going to matter because Kaiser Polson had.
I was about to say, I
thought that dodgeball was on the ground. I apologize.
Yeah. I saw the broom next to the dodgeball. I didn't know if it was an offensive or defensive situation. But yes, the result is the turnover and the power play here more openings, and Collins doesn't need much. Off to Manzella. Andrews behind the hoops. The interaction goes wayward for Chicago. Swatting it back, Collins pump fakes, gets it out to Vasquez. Vasquez to Andrews. A perfect play.
Yeah, and it always seems to start and end with Emma Vasquez in the half court, drawing the eyes, drawing the contact as her entire team cuts to her, knowing that she has every pass necessary.
A bit of a quiet season for Vasquez coming into it, but showing why she's such a well-known name here. Ing gets the deflection, no good. Yes, correct. It is going to be for Chicago. No goal on the play.
And Byron Ing just ran past the whole team. I don't know if Riley Andrews has the pass. Not going to happen.
I think the officials trying to decide whether it went fully through the hoop, deciding no, it did not. Chicago maintaining control here.
Yeah, Josh Johnson doesn't miss many of those.
Austin with the dodgeballs over to Vasquez, pulls and pressures, sending Vasquez to her hoops. Ing has to buy time. Pass to the front side, but that's a beater, not a chaser. Andrews looking for the ball, but Monroe gets to it first.
Andrews, for the second straight game, turns the ball over about 3 seconds before 20.
20 minutes have elapsed. Johnson diving through. It's a pump fake with his legs, jumping into the air and getting the shot, knocking knees, I think, with the defender there on the play.
Both Byron Ing and Josh Johnson take the brunt of that. Johnson standing, Ing is not, but both kind of hobbling back to the sideline. But yeah, I mean, this is an Austin team that has been such a dynasty, but the last 3 titles have come in 3 very different ways.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they can win this one, it would be the first time a team has ever gone back to back to back. But you talk about the first one, it was the weekend where they broke out the hoop zone defense that we hadn't seen since – I don't know if you heard this program called Baylor, but they really, really enjoyed it.
Somewhat familiar,
yeah.
Somewhat familiar.
And that's how they win that 2021 one. 2022 was kind of an overhaul of the roster. It was a younger roster, not as many of the kind of stars on that roster, but they worked through it. And, they had to go to 3 games with Washington in the quarterfinals, 3 games with New York in the semifinals. They do go 2-0 against Boston in that final. And this team is kind of the culmination. This is the team that's supposed to be the super team. And that said, they've been tested because, as we're talking about, some of these other teams are just growing and growing and growing. And that's when we get over to Chicago. We talk about proper quadball cities, the ones that have all these college programs that go to all these club programs.
Yeah.
New York has kind of blossomed as a proper quadball city. Boston, Austin are obviously the marquees. We're getting to that point with Chicago now.
Yeah.
Because this isn't a program built off of a college or something like that. When you announce the names, it's so many players from so many different schools from all around the country because, the big cities get that opportunity for people to come there for work, and then they can recruit them to these programs. And Chicago's really showing the fruit of those labors.
It's a big credit. I mean, Kennedy Murphy, head coach for this team, gets a lot of credit and well-deserved. You're bringing together, if you are bringing together, a lot of people from a lot of backgrounds, you need to have good leadership to do so. This team has come together under one roof and taken the responsibility of what it takes to get victories out here at MLQ Championships. And fruits of the labor, so sweet whenever you put in the blood, sweat, and tears throughout the entire season.
Yeah, and Nick Jablonski and myself, lucky enough to be in a city where, we've seen the fruits of labor of kind of building up all these college programs, et cetera. It takes a lot of work, and you have to be really flawless. Credit also to the assistant coach of this team, Tad Walters, the head coach of the Columbia College program.
Yeah.
Ton of their players on this team. Someone like Jack McGovern, part of our staff, who's, put a lot of work in also on the Chicago scene. Scotty Rain, been the practice squad team, and also the developer of Chicago United, the other club team in the area, along with Boom Train. It takes a lot to build a mountain, and
it looks like Ing is getting a lot of help, we'll say, to get off the field.
For sure. Meant to say it takes a village to build a home. And that's what Chicago has been doing in recent years.
And we do have 20 minutes that have elapsed. The Seekers to be released shortly. Speaking of it taking a village, A big shout out, honestly, to the volunteers here at MLQ. Couldn't get this done without them. The production team, Catch Des Moines, one of our biggest sponsors, Diaza, our apparel sponsor, these extremely beautiful jerseys that we see on display in each and every game, as well as our staff. Dressed to the nines, feeling great, getting quad ball that looks even better. I mean, how do you beat it?
Yeah, and shout out to our whole production staff. You know, a lot of our digital media, hosts and everything didn't come here to play this weekend. You know, myself and you, but also Noah Schwartz, Atana Crow,
Yep.
all kind of joining. Jack McGovern hasn't done the announcing so far this weekend, but, has been laying down the words over on the computer. I think we're about to get started here at the 20-minute mark. But, yeah, I mean, it's been fun to put this production together. I hope we kind of turned another page overall on that, and I hope you appreciate it.
I don't know if that was a read pun, but I'll address it as such. And the commentary as well. Honestly, Ethan, it's been incredibly fun. And let's remind people, it is not over yet. It is 130-60. The set score is going to be I'm gonna talk later. I got caught up in the set score, but Riley Andrews shows me there is no rest for the wicked. A goal on the board for Chicago. Set score being 190. Thank you. As I had to do math on broadcast, which I've already advised against in my head. I will never do that again. I'll lean on that aforementioned incredible production team to help me out. Adding 60 to 130. Who knew how hard that would be?
Pierce Wilson is getting a lot of time with the flag runner. Obviously, Monroe's in no real
no rush.
No rush to run the offense here.
Irwin and Monroe sure-handed and able to keep possession. Kite asking for the ball. Shot, though. I think shot pass in that situation, knowing Kite's there to clean it up. Monroe takes the shot, edging closer to this victory. 5 goals separate the Outlaws from their 5th MLQ championship.
Yeah, they count all the same. Then Zoc trying to get in there, but again, we've seen how oppressive Daniel Williams and Jackson Johnson have been on a pitch together.
Digman launching a long one across the pitch. Not sure if looking for the shot of the pass. I have to assume the pass from that position. The only one I've got confidence shooting it from mid-pitch would be Byron Ing. So Digman, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt as Reyes comes in to try to catch our flag runner Adil.
Yeah. Michael Parada, of course, had the flag catch the first time around.
Johnson and Williams with vice grips on this dodgeball control. Irwin with the quad ball. Getting some lanes cleared. Kite setting the pick and now getting the reception, or almost getting the reception on the pass. The defense is strong, though. Tracy, Kite, Monroe to Tracy, and the score beat before. No good. Ball still on the side of Austin. Thanks to the fact that he had to bend down to pick that one up, Williams' beat goes high. Irwin with the ball. Williams in her pocket, no longer. Brown chasing Williams to the seeker game. Green light for Irwin to get down into the defense.
Walks off with dodgeball control, too. Big play by Brown there.
Brown pressuring. Irwin to the backside, but it's too far. Misplaced, and it's going to be a turnover.
And Jackson Johnson and Caleb Williams, after the play had stopped, just kind of fell over each other. Williams, the only Texan on this Chicago roster out of the Baylor program.
Once again, pretty familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, a young player here for this Chicago team. A long way from home, but I should say a long way from their house, but very close to home here, or at home on this squad. I'll pick it up at some point.
It's not a short drive to Texas, Reed.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. A trip worthwhile, though, for this team.
Oh, so.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's going to be Williams going to the box for, I guess, play after whistle.
Well, the contact was incredibly low there, but it really seemed incidental and then made worse by the fact that everybody kind of stopped trying to play in that moment. But, regardless, Williams does head to the box. Did pick up those back-to-back yellow cards earlier in the day. So, the physicality's kind of gotten away from them at times.
Kite's going to have the quad ball possession, but a lot of defenders here. The saving grace being Johnson behind the defense with the dodgeball.
Head coach Jackson Johnson, who's the beater closer, I think wants a reset. I think Melkite wants to shoot.
And does, and it's good. Kite with the game-winning goal against Washington in sudden death. Shooters gotta shoot. We overplay it, but it's never more true there.
Yeah, and I shouldn't talk that negatively of Jackson Johnson. I think he was motioning for the beat he was going to make to try to free that up for her.
I think you're right. Melton checking in at seeker.
Oh, Pierce Wilson almost just got a blind grab there.
Digman with the ball out to Manzella. The defense abandoning the hoops, and Manzella makes him pay.
Yeah, Manzella's been so consistent all day alongside Emma Vasquez, all season really. Can't imagine that this team could have gotten anywhere near what they did without the pair of them. A team that was down Kenny Murphy as a player this year. Obviously, she's been tremendous as a coach who has been a star in the chasing game for so long, as Daniel Williams just makes another catch on a Matt Brown beat.
Unbelievable. Parada in a seeker for Austin after catching game one. Monroe makes the move past Vasquez, but the shot no good. Off the crossbar, down and away. Peachy on the close side. Digman directing traffic, giving time for these beaters of Chicago to get back into this game. Peachy deep.
Digman's being patient here. Matt Melton makes a swat over in the seeker game.
And Peachy is rewarded with the pass. Yakub clearing the way, but Irwin, stout defense, pushing behind the line. Peachy steps out.
Irwin, one of the best defenders in the sport, and was having none of what Peachy was trying to give there.
And maybe a catch as well. I looked to the sideline hearing the celebrations thinking it's for the defensive effort of Irwin, but it might be Reyes getting the sideline fired up.
And I think it's a San Antonio contingent down on the sidelines, giving the cheer to Eric Reyes. A lot of Texas State players on that team. Eric Reyes, a long-time Texas State veteran. Going to have to be a conversation. Obviously, the timing of the whistle is going to play a part in this call, along with the validity of the grab itself.
Exactly. I was just trying to formulate the words, honestly. My mind just about as scattered as these players on the field.
Eric Reyes has taken Austin within one goal of their fifth championship. And they have the quad ball.
Chicago, in their previous series, getting the catch with possession and getting the win shortly after. Austin saying, what you can do, I can do better. Up 180 to 80, 185 to 80, and 1 goal to go. Getting the ball to Monroe. Kite on the right, the pass deflected by Digman. Digman going the other way. One dodgeball there. Williams stopping the drive. Digman outside to Peachy. Peachy back to Digman. Offensive players in the play. Now Chicago needs to take their time. Manzella and Peachy on the backside. The beat from Williams.
Yeah, but Irwin, I believe, came in from behind there on that tackle on Peachy. Melanie Rolfe has subbed into the game, but just from everything we've seen, from what Nathan Digman has laid out on this pitch in 5 games today, the fact that he had it in him, nobody would have faulted him if he just let Augie Monroe make one last pass, let Melkite score one last goal. Digman found it in him to jump one final passing lane and keep this game going.
Digman didn't hear no bell. And until this game is over, you're going to see Nathan fighting for this team, just like every other Prowl member would do in return.
Yeah, Casey Irwin is headed to the box. Interesting, Kenny Murphy, who obviously is a key part of this team, has been an incredible head coach all year. And if we had the award, I think probably would have easily won Coach of the Year. Haven't seen her on pitch yet much lately. She just came out to say something to every player on this pitch. I wonder what that means in this moment.
The moment still on, though. Peachy with the quad ball on the backside. Dodgeball in Williams, and now knocks out Peachy. Rolf holding on to the ball, and we get another stoppage. It's going to be a late throw and a quad ball turnover to Monroe.
I must have completely missed the beat in that play, to be honest.
Oshra, dodgeball in hand, trading with Williams. No contact, though. Johnson, Monroe driving in, deflected, and another defensive stop by Digman. There is no quit in this team. Digman going down the field, pressured by Johnson. Out to Rolf. Rolf can't handle it. Johnson picks it up. Manzella pressuring, and Austin's going the other way.
I'm not sure Nathan Digman has known where their headband is in approximately 3 possessions.
That sounds about par for the course. Austin going for the entire tour, however.
And Chicago's going very young, getting some of their younger players minutes in the closing seconds here.
Monroe, Johnson, Kite on the backside as Irwin re-enters play. Williams with the ball, clearing the lane. Johnson, jump shot, no good.
You know, we talk a lot about how hard it is to score the last goal. Given how this game has gone, I did not think it would take 3 possessions.
I'm here for it, though, Ethan. The longer today goes, the better, in my opinion. These teams have showed such elite quad ball gameplay that I don't want this ever to stop. Chicago absolutely agreeing with me on that point, at least for the moment. J-Rim outside to Lauren Smith.
Yeah, Lauren Smith, part of the Mizzou program that Himmelman behind the hoops is also part of. J-Rim in that Columbia program. Ali Manzella, a graduate of that Columbia program in recent years.
Smith on the outside. Oshra in her pocket. Himmelman on the back end. Contact on the front side. Monroe intercepts. Going the other way. He's got an opportunity. Oshra on the defense. Gets the pass to Johnson. Johnson slips. Does not get beat. Avoids the contact. Pump fake. Jump shot. Good on the small hoop. There's going to be a conference, though. A conference conference. Woo!
It's been a long day.
Johnson started this game 3 goals unanswered. A hat trick. It would be poetry for Johnson to end it here. This team has had so much success. It's been deemed illegal, but that's why we call them the Outlaws. It's their 5th MLQ championship.
Yes, and, you know, it is Josh Johnson getting the final goal, but, you know, rumors that this might be the final game that Augustine Monroe ever plays